Warning: the following program contains inappropriate language that has been censored out for your benefit. Listener discretion is advised. You are listening to The Vent, a safe place for all of us. This is indeed The Vent, a safe place for all of us. I want to thank everyone for tuning in and listening to this podcast. My name is Andrew. Thank you again for joining me. Welcome back to the safe space. You know what really pisses me off? You know how certain jobs require you to have work experience before they'll consider hiring you? That's what pisses me off a lot of the time. You want to know why? Why? Because when you get out of high school or out of college, it's very hard to find work, and I don't just mean in your field of study, I mean in general. It is very hard to find work. The economy may be better off now than it was, say, 5-10 years ago, but it's still not easy to find work. Like, I keep hearing this all the time. Oh, you can't expect to get a job in your field the first time you go around. And that's fine. I completely get that. That's not what I'm saying. Like, I'm saying it's hard to find work at all. Like, let me talk about myself, for example. I went into broadcasting. I studied broadcasting. And I studied all facets of broadcasting. On-air work, both television and radio. Behind-the-scenes work, such as pre-production, post-production, video editing, special effects, that kind of stuff. I studied several facets of broadcasting. So it's not really as simple as, oh, you can't get a job in the field you want the first time around because there's just nothing there, because there are so many areas in broadcasting where I can get work. But many places require you to have work experience first before they will consider hiring you. Well, how can I get experience working in the field unless I get a job? It's such an insulting juxtaposition that we're in that it's almost insulting. There's also a problem of location. There are just certain locations, depending on your field, where it's impossible to get work. Like right now, I'm stuck in Deer Park, a very small town with very few career opportunities, if any. Which means that in order for me to grow, I have to pretty much leave the town and possibly leave New York. That's all fine and good, except factors at home are currently making that very hard. And while I won't go into them in this episode, it's not really pleasant. So yeah, we, in this booming generation of up-and-coming workers, are kind of in a tough spot. When it comes to work, we can't really get work unless we actually get work. Do you understand what I'm saying? It's very stupid. I get the idea that they want people with some experience, but how can you get experience unless you get a job in the field? You know? I got lucky enough that I went to a school that specialized in broadcasting and had connections. And while nothing really has panned out yet, I'm in maybe a better position than others. But I'm still not in a great position. It's really not that good. And that's one of the things that really pisses me off. Because it's not that we are lazy or we just don't want to work. I'm sure there are some people out there that are like that have that mentality. But a lot of us don't. And so to label us into this one basket and just assume that just because we don't have a job, that means we don't want to work, we want to mooch off, that's bull. That is complete and utter bull. We all want to make something of our lives. We all want to have decent jobs. We all want to have decent incomes. We all want to have decent lives. Let me tell you, I am really, really sick and tired of this perception that we just want to mooch off of others. We don't want to do the hard work. No, okay? We just don't have an opportunity. This is kind of why I'm in the camp that if you find a really good college that's tailor-made to your specific needs, you'll be in a better position than most people. Because you can study in your field and study other things if you find other interests. So this way you have more options to take your life or career somewhere if you want to. For example, when I got the chance, I not only studied broadcasting, I studied writing, I studied film production, I studied all aspects of film production because it's an interesting field to study. And because I now have the schooling and the education, if I want to pursue something like film production, like television production or writing, I'm in a better position to do that. But again, it's the same problem. If we don't have a chance to get a job somewhere, it's all for naught. It's just really asinine and really backwards thinking. If I'm not able to find a career in broadcasting, specifically sports broadcasting, I would love to get a career in writing. Because I really enjoy writing. I told you in the last episode, I wrote an actual screenplay for a theatrical movie. I don't know if it's any good. I don't think it's any good, but I wrote it. And I had a lot of fun writing it. It took me over a year to just develop the concept and develop all of the notes and the plot points before I even started writing the script. And I even developed much more of the plot points and the actual storyline as I was writing the script, because that's just how my brain functions. I just write with what I think and I just go with it. I'm not saying that's a good way to write, but I found that it's worked for me, because I find that when I plan out something even to the most intricate detail, I find that I tend to get very overwhelmed and I start to lose motivation. It's actually a lot easier for me to just sit down and let the ideas flow to me. Like, I'll have a general list of notes that I work off of, but I cannot do big, intricate, and detailed notes before I start writing. I just don't work like that. And I would really love to get a writing career if I can't get a broadcasting career. In fact, my girlfriend is also studying to be a writer. So, who knows? We can make a great tag team. Whether it's novels, online books, TV sitcoms, or animation, or movie writing, whatever it is, I think we can make a really great team about it. So this is just a message to anyone out there that's struggling right now with finding a job or getting settled with their career aspirations. Hang in there. Don't give up. Okay, it's worth fighting for what you want to do with your life. Everyone deserves to have the chance to follow their dreams and make something of themselves. And just keep in mind, no matter how old you are, no matter how far away you are from your education, it's never too late to start. Don't feel discouraged just because maybe you're in your mid-20s and you haven't found it yet, or if you're in your 30s or 40s and you've decided to have a career change. Don't be discouraged. It's never too late as long as you work for it. So just breathe, relax, hang in there, and things will turn around for you. I promise. And welcome back. This is The Vent, a safe place for all of us. Thanks for coming back. I want to piggyback to my last point before I kind of close the show. It'll just be one more mini rant. The best thing I can say Network as much as you can. Interact with and meet as many people as you can. It doesn't matter what field you're studying or what subjects you're learning. The more people you interact with, the more people you network with, the more people you meet and learn about, the better. Because you never know. One of those people can turn out to be a person who changes your life. Whether in a small way or a really significant way, they might change your life. For example, in my junior year of college, I went to a job fair. And they have those booths that offer jobs for various companies in all sorts of different fields. I met this very nice gentleman. I walked up to his booth. He shook my hand. He was very outgoing, very positive, very energetic. Talked about his company. Actually, talked about one of the companies he worked for, because it turns out he works for more than one company. Talked about it a lot. It wasn't directly in the field I was looking for, but he was very friendly, very nice, very outgoing, very approachable, very nice person. We talked, I gave him my resume, and then we went our separate ways. I didn't think much of it. A year later, for my senior year, I had to take an internship. Yeah, that's one of the few stupid things about colleges. The one I went to, at least, forces you to take an internship class, which means you have assignments to complete for a class in addition to having an actual internship. It's a big pain in the ass. For one, it was so hard for me to actually get an internship. I don't think I got it until a month into the semester I was in. And keep in mind, for colleges, semesters are only about 3 months. So I was already kind of set back quite a bit. But then I finally found an internship. I found one for a company called New Sound Magazine. New Sound Magazine, I applied, and with the help of my instructor, I got an interview for that internship. So the day of my interview, I go to the location that I'm giving. I go to that location, I go up the elevator. It was a very small building, but it had several floors. So I get in the elevator. This nice gentleman gets in next to me. We ride the elevator up. We chat. Turns out we're going to the same floor. We chat, and then it starts to come back to me. I look at this guy, and I start to recognize him, and he starts to recognize me. Wouldn't you believe it? This man, whom I was riding the elevator with, to the same floor, was the same man that I had met in the year before when I went to the job fair. No joke. Same man, same demeanor. He got so excited. Let me tell you, I've never seen someone so excited encountering someone for the second time in their life. But my goodness, he shook my hand with such authority, and he was so giddy. I didn't want to laugh because I thought it would be inappropriate, but he made me want to laugh. That's just how positive he was. It turns out he works for 2 companies. He works for a company called New Sound Magazine, which is mainly a musical entertainment company that works in promotions, stage setting, that kind of stuff. Backstage website production, all of that good stuff. He also works for another company called Ultimate Athlete Magazine. Now, Ultimate Athlete Magazine was the company that he advertised for me at the job fair. So I wasn't even aware of this other company called New Sound that he worked for when I went for the interview. But that was the company that they wanted to hire me for my internship. At first I was kind of concerned because I didn't know what was going on, but as it turned out, this man who I rode the elevator with and who I met at the job fair was going to be my boss. So everything kind of worked out. Let me tell you, I can probably count on both my hands the number of people I've met in my life who are nicer than him. He was just so uplifting and so positive, and he was great. It was a pleasure working for him. It wasn't always perfect, granted, but by that I mean it was very lax and not always organized. You see, I've been conditioned to think that internships and jobs are always going to be more strict, more uptight, more closed circuit, and more strict than I've experienced. Because I've had a couple of jobs, I've had a couple of internships. Most of them have been relatively easygoing. Very lax, very uplifting, positive environment. Which is good, I like that. And basically working for him entailed me having to do research for him, for performance opportunities for bands he had contacts with. I would go with him to bars for performances and such. Although most of the time those were just for hangouts. It wasn't really as professional as I expected. But I still got to meet some really cool people. I got to meet his inner circle. I got to meet people he works with on a daily basis. This man's name is Scotto Savitt. He works for both Ultimate Athlete Magazine and New Sound Magazine. And if you don't know what they are, I highly recommend checking out. Ultimate Athlete Magazine is basically just a company that specializes in local high school, college sports. You know, covering them, printing out stories, doing interviews, that kind of stuff. New Sound Magazine, like I said, it's more for music, the music industry, booking gigs, meeting people, website production, that kind of stuff. And it's cool. And during my time working for Scotto, I also met a very nice man named Tommy Bruno. He runs a company, a self-employed company called Celebrity DJ Entertainment. And just like the name implies, he is a professional DJ. He goes to locations, he hosts a party, he provides the entertainment, that kind of stuff. Wouldn't you know it, after I finished my first internship with Savitt for New Sound Magazine, and I couldn't get another internship, he graciously offered me the opportunity to work with Tommy for my internship. Now, Tommy is a wonderful man. He is one of the nicest people I've ever met in my life, and if I ever need work, I will definitely consider getting in contact with him or Scotto Savitt again. Unfortunately, my internship experience with Tommy was even more chaotic than with Scotto. Tommy's a wonderful man, and he is an excellent DJ. Absolutely. The problem is the work schedule with him in my second semester was very messy. So much so that, officially, by my count, I can recall that I worked exactly 3 gigs with Tommy. Exclusively with Tommy for Celebrity DJ Entertainment. Now, basically working for him meant having to set up the equipment, having to interact with some of his people, having to run some errands. It was somewhat like with Savitt, but the problem was he had issues during my semester. Family medical emergencies that he had to tend to. So as a result, Savitt had to step in, and I basically ended up doing the exact same thing for him that I did for him in my first semester. But he allowed that to count for my hours towards my internship class, which is wonderful. He didn't have to do that. But I guess I left a nice impression on him, and I guess he liked me, so he offered to help. That was very nice of him. And so that's the best thing I can talk to you about as I wrap up this week's show. The best thing you can do, if you can't find the right job or the right opportunity, find the right people. Network as much as you can. Because you never know where it might get you. You may just stumble on the right one person who can give you such a great opportunity. Or at the very least, give you an opportunity you weren't expecting or playing for. I do not regret working with Scotto or Tommy in the slightest. I enjoyed meeting them. I enjoyed interacting with them. I enjoyed working for them. They are very nice people, and I would definitely recommend checking out their work. Again, that's newsoundmagazine.com, ultimateathletemagazine.com, and celebritydjentertainment.com. Plus, they are both on Facebook, Scotto Savitt and Tommy Bruno. They are definitely worth a follow. They were such nice people to me, and I am forever grateful for their gratitude and their graciousness. Because it could have easily turned out to be a disaster for me, but they're nice people, so it didn't. And that's where I'm going to leave it off here for this edition of The Vent. Thank you once again for joining me and listening to my ramblings. Keep in mind I have a Twitter account at AkunaAndrew if you would like to hit me up and talk to me about anything. I am open to conversations.